I yelled and now I feel like a terrible mother. You ask them once, nothing. You ask again, a little sharper this time. Still, nothing. You don't get a response. And then it happens. Your voice cracks the air in a way you hate. Their little faces change. The house goes quiet. And later that night, after they have fallen asleep, you whisper the words, "I'm so sorry. I don't want to be this kind of mother." Not the perfect mother, but the real one. I'm Anna. I'm a mother of two small children, and for a long time, I thought that maybe I was just an angry person, but what changed everything for me was this. Yelling is not always a character problem, and very often it's a capacity problem. And by the end of this video, I will tell you exactly what helped me stop yelling to my kid, even on the hard days. I scared myself with my own reaction. One afternoon, my son was 2.5 and my daughter was 1 and 4 months old. It was around 5 o'clock in the noon. I was pretty tired, but I was calm. The children were running around in the room, back and forth, just like children love to run around. And my son was very excited. And lately, he had started pushing his little sister as a joke. I looked away for exactly 1 second, and suddenly he ran towards her, pushed her, and she fell face first. Her mouth started bleeding, and in that moment, something old opened in me, because when my son was around the same age, he was running with a toy and he fell and broke his front tooth, a tooth that I had waited for a year and more. So when I saw my daughter's blood, I was not only seeing her, I was reliving that fear. I picked her up to see what had happened, to check her teeth, if they were broken, if they were loose, if something serious had happened. And then my son came over laughing his heart out. I said to him, "Do you think that this is funny? Look what you did to your sister." And then his reaction was he spit in my face, and then I yelled. I said words I wish I had said differently. I was very angry, but under the anger, I was just terrified. And when I saw his face, how it changed, I knew this is not the mother I want to be. Maybe I'm broken, and for a long time, I thought that calm mothers were simply better mothers, more patient, more holy, more gentle. But that day taught me something. Sometimes anger is fear with a very loud voice. Sometimes anger is trauma coming back. Sometimes anger is your nervous system running out of space. A cup doesn't spill because it's a bad cup. It spills because it's full. You can't hate yourself into becoming calmer, but you can build capacity. You can make the cup bigger. You can refill it sooner, and you can learn to rule your spirit. Scripture says, "He who is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his spirit than he who takes a city." That verse humbled me because motherhood is not only about controlling children, it's also about learning to govern your own self. So what actually helped? First, I learned to notice the storm early, and for me, my jaw tightens, my heart starts beating faster, and I can feel anger clouding my mind. That is the danger point. Scripture says, "Be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger," because the anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God. When I feel the storm rising, I try to name it before it owns me and takes hold of me. I say, "Mommy is overwhelmed, mommy is scared, I need a breath." Naming it gives me a few precious seconds. Sometimes those few seconds save the whole moment. My child doesn't listen unless I shout. Second, I stopped yelling from across the room. Instead, I get closer to them. I get lower to their level. I touch the shoulder of the child. I make eye contact. I make connection first, and then I do instruction second, because many times a small child is not trying to disrespect you. Their little brain has not even switched from from the play. And that's why they're not listening. So I stopped trying to overpower the room with volume. I started to enter their world with presence and love. Third, I stopped talking so much. Children do not process 5 instructions at once. They only process one clear and simple instruction, which is very specific. When you say the combination of stop running, be careful, don't push your sister, clean this up, and come here to me, this is so complicated to them. So you have to just say stop running, then you stop speaking, or hands gentle, or come to me, just one instruction, and then you do a pause. Sometimes they do not need a louder mother, they need a clearer one. Fourth, I stopped treating my own needs as if they're some kind of luxury. For me, prayer helps a lot, a shower helps, training helps, a walk helps, silence as well, being alone for a couple of minutes, that also really regenerates me and regulates me. So a regulated mother is not selfish, she's the strategy. You can't pour calm into an empty cup. My parenting is deeply rooted in scripture. So no, I don't believe children should simply be left to follow every impulse that they have. The Bible speaks seriously about discipline. There's even a proverb that says, do not withhold discipline from a child. If you strike him with a rod, you will not die. That is a really strong verse, and it's kind of uncomfortable, especially to the modern ear. But the heart of it is the following. A parent is not called to be passive. A parent is called to guide, to correct, to be the shepherd, to protect the child from being ruled by every impulse that they have. Scripture also says this, fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up to discipline and instruction of the Lord. So we hold both truths. Children need correction, and parents must not correct in a way that humiliates the child or crushes their spirit or provokes them. You shouldn't be permissive. You shouldn't get angry. You must cultivate loving authority, firmness without cruelty, correction without contempt. So repair. Did I damage my child forever and our relationship? And when I still fail, because sometimes I do, I have learned that what matters most after a bad day is the repair. That day my son cried, he wanted me. He wanted to nurse, he wanted closeness after I got so upset. And I was still angry at him to give it immediately. But later, when he had calmed down, when he apologized to his sister and hugged and kissed her, I came back to him and held him. I told him that I love him. I explained that I had been scared that my voice had been so harsh and that I never want anger to separate us. And I watched this little body relax, his side, like a weight had fallen off of him. That taught me something. Children do not need perfect mothers. What they need is mothers who come back to them. So now, when I get it wrong, I go back, I kneel down, I hug my child, and I say, Mommy's voice was too big. Mommy was scared. That was not your fault entirely. I'm sorry. I love you. Repair doesn't erase what happened, but it teaches the child that love returns. So if you're standing outside that door tonight whispering, I'm sorry, I want you to hear this. You're not the yelling. You're not the coming back. You're not a bad mother. You're a mother who may have been carrying too much on your shoulders for too long. But put some of it down, fill your cup, rule your spirit, correct your children with love, never in anger, and forgive yourself the way you hope that your daughter or your son will forgive him or herself one day. You're doing better than you think. If you know a mother who needs to hear this, send it to her, because she probably thinks she is the only one, and she's not. Please subscribe for honest, faithful, and fiercely loving motherhood content. It genuinely helps this channel grow and helps these videos reach more mothers. Mothers who are trying to love their children well in the hard days. And next week, we'll be speaking about the spiritual battle no one warns you about in motherhood. I'll see you there.